So now we've taken off to Mark's home. Mark is a viewer and he collects all things Kiss. Mark, your collection is unbelievable. A whole room is filled with Kiss stuff. Tell me about it. When did you start collecting it?
Well, I think I started collecting when I was about 6, to be honest. And that led to Kiss, because I had these little cereal toys that you can see here, little crater critters, they call them, from the 1960s and 70s. And I collected those out of cereal packets with my mum, and that, I guess if I was 6, I must have been born a collector. And that then led to, I guess, listening to music when I was about 13 or 14. I loved the band Kiss. They came onto the scene and heard them on 3XY. Then my parents bought me this Kiss belt buckle.
Oh.
Right, so I still have that from 1976.
Do you still wear that?
Occasionally. And I did wear it to when I was at school, back in high school, and I got told off by the priests for wearing it at school. And then again, with regards to, I guess, the cereal toys and little space people, this album cover was fantastic because it sort of, from a kid in the suburbs who's about 13 or 14, to see an album cover like this, it was almost like they were space age or something really different. That was the genesis to see, hey, what a cool band this is. I have to get more of this stuff. I guess back in the 70s, it wasn't not a visual, not like, you know, now Facebook and screen media. And these little flyers here from 3XY back in the day, they were fantastic as well because you got a little glimpse of what the band was like as well and collected those. So scrapbooks, anything that was visual from our newspapers, stick them in a little scrapbook and you've got some sort of memory then as well.
So what's your favourite item?
Well, one of my recent favourite items, and it's probably a little one that my wife got for me, this is a 1974 unused ticket from Michigan Palace in Detroit, when they first started playing, and you can see here they're the support band for Blue Oyster Cult. So when Kiss started their career, say in 1973, they started playing clubs, like, you know, just bars and what have you in New York. Then they went to Detroit in, say, 1974, 75, and they were very big in Detroit. And they played stadiums in 75, 76 in Detroit. So having something from Detroit, for me, and obviously for an unused ticket from Michigan Palace is fantastic. And my wife and myself, we went to Detroit in 1999, and we went to a couple of sacred Kiss sites in Detroit to get some photos of those areas. So I guess all the things I've got here, it's almost like artefacts, and they're a biography as well of my wife and myself and their little journey through rock and roll. They toured recently in 2013 and they had ice creams. Again, they reissued these ice creams from 1980. So I bought 7 boxes of the Icy Poles and I've got them in a freezer out the back. I'm going to try and keep them frozen for quite a while. So I'll show you one of those later.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right, now, Mark, let's talk about the band itself a little bit. Your wife tells me you go just about every year. Is that true?
Yes, that's true. And multiple concerts.
And have you met the guys?
Yes, I have fleeting. Backstage, I've met Paul Stanley in 1999. He played the lead role in Phantom of the Opera. So my wife and I flew over to see a couple of shows and we went in backstage and he signed a couple of things for me, which was really nice. Bit of a quiet chat. Then he did. Then Paul did a solo tour in 2008, I think it was, and I got a backstage pass for that, and we had a bit of a chat, which was nice. And he signed a couple of things to the kids, to Jacob and Dottie, and Gene, I guess, and Paul. They're the brains behind the band, and they've got a nice vision for the band. And Gene, you know, he's got a room obviously twice the size of mine with all his collectibles, and you know, he sees, I guess, the value in terms of like maintaining the culture of Kiss, because it is like a subculture.
So there's a lot of meaning behind the songs for you.
Well, there is in terms of, look, they're a good party time. They're a good party rock and roll band. They're good times. Singing about, you know, just what it's like to live and to be elated and have a good time at a show. When they first toured in 1980, I was like 17. So I slept out for the concert the night before. So it was about 2 days before they came on. So I was like a 17-year-old just sleeping out, waiting for the concert. And I guess now, when you look at the room, it sort of takes you back to that time. It's almost like a little bit of a time warp that you're sort of holding on to a great time in your life. And I guess that's what collecting is all about. It's all about having something, maybe a little artefact that can almost give you a bit of sense of time travel, which is fantastic.